On a day hot enough to make anyone pant, the Texas Tech Red Raiders would meet the Texas Aggies at storied Kyle Field. The Saddle Tramps led a large Texas Tech contingent. Some 65,000 Aggies and their dates arrived to cheer their team on. At the end of the day, you could be sure of one thing. This would be a bell ringer for the video season ticket.
Hello again, everybody. Ray Gaskin at Kyle Field in College Station on a hot Saturday afternoon. Temperature 89 degrees. 69,000 fans have gathered to watch the Aggies host the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Shane Garrett feels the opening kickoff, and watch him come up the near sidelines. Finds an opening, but watch what happens here. The ball is knocked free, and Mike Kinney, a walk-on from Plano East, recovers for the Red Raiders to start the ball game. Now Texas Tech goes on the attack. Quarterback Robert Hall out of Dallas Carter looking for Rodney Blackshear. Good diving catch by Blackshear, gain of 15 yards, and the Red Raider fans have something to cheer about early on. But the drive stalls, and a 41-yard field goal try by Lynn Elliott splits the uprights, and Texas Tech takes an early 3-0 lead. Now it is the Aggies on the attack. The tailback, Darren Lewis, breaking tackles, picking up 11 yards, 232 yards rushing for Darren Lewis in the ball game. Now it's Shane Garrett picking up 17 yards on this play before Mike Licio brings him down out of bounds. Darren Lewis gets the call again. What a busy afternoon he had for R.C. Slocum's team as he picks up 10 yards and a first down. The drive continues. Starting quarterback Lance Pavlis back to throw. Marcus Washington with a big sack. It's a loss of 12 yards. On the next play, 3rd down and 20 coming up. And the Red Raider defense certainly playing pass defense here, looking for the throw. Ball tipped in the air, and Ron Ferguson picks it off. Here he comes up the sidelines, down beyond the 40, the 30. Can he take it all the way in? No, he's tackled, but it's a return of 67 yards on the play, and this certainly deserves another look from ground level. Watch him snare the ball out of the air and take off up the sideline. 67 yards on the return, and the first quarter so far belonging to the Texas Tech Red Raiders. But several plays later, once again, the Aggies defense stiffens, and Elliott comes in to boot a 30-yard field goal. It's good, and Texas Tech at the end of the first quarter has a 6-0 lead. Not much for the Aggie faithful to cheer about so far. But as we go to the second quarter, Darren Lewis will go to work again. Here comes number 25, out of bounds after a pickup of 15 yards. Once again, though, the defense stiffens. This time it's Texas Tech's turn to stop the offense, and a field goal try is no good. On a second play after the Raiders take over, it is Jamie Gill in at quarterback. Remember, he was injured in a preceding game, has missed time. But on this play, loose ball picked up by Lewis Sheffield, but he is flung down after losing yardage on the play. And on the very next down, it's 3rd down, 22 yards to go. Anthony Lynn takes off up the middle, and he rambles for 39 yards. Let's have another look at that play. Remember, it was 3rd down and 22 from the Tech 6. And a great call by Spike Dykes as Lynn goes for 39 yards on the play. Now it's 1st and 10 at the Tech 44. Don Marshall, number 34, picks up 11 yards. But later, the Red Raiders stall out offensively. Mike DeLagerheim in the punt. And watch the ball bound at the 5-yard line, and the Red Raiders can't quite keep it from going into the end zone. On 1st and 10 from the Aggies 20, Darren Lewis around the left side, and Lewis using the stiff arm, dragged down after picking up 8 yards on the play. Now much later, it's 4th down and 6. Sean Wilson to punt the ball, and watch what happens here as the ball comes down, bounces inside the 1-yard line, and the Aggies are there to down it inside the 1. Red Raiders with not much room to operate on a 3rd down and 8. Anthony Lynn, as the Red Raiders do get some breathing room as Lynn gets a first down. A couple of plays later, quarterback Robert Hall throwing to Anthony Stinnett on the rollout to the left. Good catch on the play for a first down. Let's have another look at this as the elusive Hall adds another dimension to the Tech offensive attack, being able to scramble so well. Now finally, it is 4th down from the Tech 42. Several plays later, DeLagerheim's punt goes 31 yards into the wind. On the first down play after the Aggies take over, Darren Lewis. Here he comes, rambling for 14 yards before Matt Wingo can make the tackle. The Aggies have made a change at quarterback. Bucky Richardson, the other quarterback for the Aggies who has that scrambling ability, runs around all over the place and finally finds Shane Garrett for a gain of 20 yards. Time running out in the first half. 5 plays later, Bucky Richardson on 3rd down and 2. They are knocking at the door. He finds Darren Lewis, and Lewis goes in for the touchdown. And the extra point is good. And the Aggies lead 7-6. Only 11 seconds left in the half. The band's ready to come out and entertain at halftime. In fact, some of the fans headed for the concession stands. But watch what happens here. The kickoff goes to Rodney Blackshear. Watch Rodney Blackshear go as the 12th man kickoff team for the Aggies is victimized here. Rodney Blackshear takes it all the way for the touchdown, 92 yards, and the Raiders are on top 13-7 at the half. Now it's time for our halftime feature this week, part 1 on the Golden Palomino, Donnie Anderson.
Today's market, I would not have stayed at Texas Tech. I would have had to sign a contract. You couldn't turn down a $2 million contract.
Right.
David Parks had signed in '63, and David had signed for about a little over $100,000 a couple years before I did. JT had mentioned to me that he felt that I'd get an adequate contract similar to Parks's. Well, when I went to visit my senior year, I made the decision with my parents that I was going to stay and play. Felt that that was the thing to do. The contract at the time, as we remember, was the biggest at that time ever. But certainly not anything compared to a running back's future. If you would consider me being a future draft choice today and going into negotiated contract, it would be well in the millions.
Sure. Because
they had drafted you as a future, really meaning that they don't do that anymore.
Right.
That they wanted you pretty bad. That gave me the confidence to proceed into the professional world of football. At the time, I was really more concerned about how good a baseball player I was than football. And I really never really thought much about football and playing professional football, but I certainly had spent many hours of dreaming and setting goals to be a Major League Baseball.
When you were at Tech?
When I was at Tech, even though I didn't play but 2 years, that was my dream, my goal was to be a professional baseball player. Well, after I was drafted by Houston and Green Bay, I played that spring and hit 220 or 230. First time I'd ever hit under 300 in organized baseball. Felt that told me that maybe I'm a better football player, or it was telling me what I needed to do. So I forgot about baseball and really have never looked back since. I didn't feel that I made it. I made the proper decision by playing for the Packers and being part of, if not the greatest coach, one of the greatest coaches ever, and winning Super Bowl games and being part of the love that Vince Lombardi shared, even though it was a rugged, tough football organization. We still have the ability today to see each other and hug each other and say, I love you. And that's special. That's something that will always be with me, and I'll never forget it. And because Vince Lombardi taught a lot of people a lot of wonderful things when he taught them. One thing that I admire more than anything, he taught you to be a better man than you ever dreamed you would be. Now, what he taught you on the field of competitiveness, and I do, as I mentioned earlier, about doing seminars for corporations and high schools and colleges, on mental toughness, the key to success. What is mental toughness? Now, I could ask 100 people and I'd have 100 different answers. But mental toughness is truly the key to success. Without it, you will never be a champion. With it, you will always be a champion. And what we have to understand is that we have to be taught mental toughness. It isn't something that you can go buy. It isn't something that mother can buy for you, or dad, or grandmother, or coach. You have to be taught. Some people have the ability to teach others mental toughness, some don't. A lot of different people use a different theory, but Vince's was very simple. The perfect disciplined will is refusing to admit defeat. Now, if you have a perfect disciplined will within yourself, then if you can program yourself to never believe that you're ever beat, and he believed that. He'd tell people, we didn't get beat, we ran out of time.
I know you have some young people in your family, some athletes.
I have two athletes. I have a boy that's 16 that's a decent baseball player, and his future is right here in his hand where his goals are. And it's up to him and keeping his hat and keeping his bat close to him and making that commitment of how good he wants to be, because he has the given talent to be as good as he wants to be. My beautiful daughter is talented in so many ways. She has got talent in the knowledge world of brains, a very smart young lady, a very dedicated young lady, has maturity much more than her 14 years of age. She acts much more mature than that. She's also a soccer player and played on one of the top teams in the nation for 2 years. And she's also a track, going to participate in track. So I'm very fortunate to have two beautiful children, and I preference this daily. Today they're beautiful. I hope and pray tomorrow they're beautiful, but today they're wonderful children.
What type of dad are you? Are you a hands-on helping coach, or do you stand back?
No, I participate. I believe that two things make up a wonderful family, a wonderful team, a wonderful championship of whatever your endeavor may be, whether it's work or sports or family. You have to have discipline in your family. You have to have discipline in your business and in your athletic endeavor. The other part of the formula that makes it work is that you got to be able to hug.
Well, let's get back to the second half action now as Texas Tech takes a 13-7 lead into the third quarter. Here come the Aggies on the attack. Give to the tailback, Lewis, and Lewis picks up where he left off in the first half as he rambles for 14 yards. 3 plays later, 1st and 10 at the Tech 38. Bucky Richardson looking to throw, fires a bullet to Ware over the middle, and Ware gets away and goes in for the touchdown, and it is a quick 79-yard drive. The Aggies with the extra point lead 14-13. And on the next A&M possession, it is Robert Wilson. Wilson picks up 5 yards. 3 plays later, Bucky Richardson with the play-action fake, looking to throw, looking for the receiver, and he can scramble just like Robert Hall, and he picks up very good yardage going out at the 41-yard line of the Red Raiders. Then on a 2nd down and 9 from the Tech 40, Richardson is looking for Patterson, picked off by Brian Dubisky. Let's have another look from the ground level. The Red Raiders picked off 3 Aggie passes in the ball game. Now a couple of plays later, though, it's 2nd down and 10 from the Texas Tech 32-yard line. Hall, whoops, there is a mix-up on the exchange, and the ball is recovered by the Aggies. A&M is able to capitalize as Bucky Richardson dives over later from a yard out for the touchdown, and A&M takes a 21-13 lead, 5:35 left in the quarter. Now on A&M's next possession, Richardson is back to throw, looking for Oliver. Ball is tipped. Coming up right here by Sammy Walker and intercepted by Saul. And Saul takes it down the sidelines for 27 yards. 3 plays later, 2nd and 13 at the Aggie 18-yard line. Quarterback Robert Hall back to pass. And let's watch what happens on this play with A&M leading at this point. Nice throw over the middle to Anthony Manyweather. On the very next play, 1st and goal from the 4. Lynn on the slant goes in for the touchdown. Here's the replay again as Lynn, running so well as he has all season, goes in for the TD, and Tech is within 2 points. The Red Raiders will try to tie it. Good faking here, and the quarterback, Robert Hall, keeps and goes in untouched, and the game is tied 21-21. Now we go to fourth quarter action. On Tech's possession here early in the fourth quarter. It's a 3rd down at the Aggie 43-yard line, throwing to Rodney Blackshear, and Rodney Blackshear comes right down the middle. Good use of the straight arm. It's a pickup of 32 yards. And a bit later, as a Red Raider fan, sense a good opportunity for an upset win. 3rd down and 10. Robert Hall is scrambling again, and he picks up 8 yards. But this brings up a 4th down and 2. The Red Raiders elect to go for the field goal try, and the kick by Lynn Elliott is good, and Texas Tech takes a 3-point lead with 9:21 left in the game. But the Aggies now, with 69,000 fans watching on, start to come back. Lewis around the right side for 11 yards. Again, as we mentioned before, he rushed for over 200 yards in the ballgame, 232 net to be exact. Richardson to Patterson for 37 yards, and A&M is on the move. Now on second down and goal from the 1, Bucky Richardson. Remember, he had sneaked in for a TD earlier. He's got another one this time. 5:23 left. A&M back on top by 4 points. And Texas Tech rally and pull out the victory. On the Red Raiders' next possession, Hall looking for Lloyd Hill. Hadn't caught many passes in this ball game, but been a very busy receiver in previous games. 25 yards on that play. 3 plays later, Hall looks for Hill again, and another clutch reception of 11. First and 10 at the A&M 30. Lynn sweeping around the right corner. Good, tough running by Anthony Lynn. Second down and 1 at the A&M 21-yard line. Hall will look into the end zone, a chance to get the big play here, and just incomplete for Anthony Manyweather. Second down and 6 to 15. Hall pumping once, then running and losing 7 yards on the play. Now the big play in the fourth quarter. Fourth down from the Aggie 22. And here is the end result, the pass thrown, and it is intercepted by A&M as Kevin Smith picks it off to stop Texas Tech's final rally in the ball game as A&M holds on to win by a final score of 28-24 at Kyle Field. Now let's take a look at some of the final statistics in the ball game. The Red Raiders with a good offensive effort, 15 first downs in the game, 153 yards rushing, another good effort by Anthony Lynn, 146 yards in the passing department on 12 of 31 and only 1 interception, 264 yards total offense for the Red Raiders. Defensively, the Red Raiders picked off 3 A&M passes, but Texas A&M holding on defensively at the end of the game to stop Texas Tech and win 28-24. Now the next game coming up, it'll be a trip to the hills to play the Arkansas Razorbacks in Fayetteville.
Rudy Maskew coaches our defensive ends, and Rudy was a graduate assistant here. High school coach, a guy that went to Texas Tech, a Tech graduate, a great guy. He's a guy that is probably involved in more things than anybody on our staff. He's in charge of all of our video equipment. He's in charge of our kicking teams. He does a tremendous job and a tremendous asset to our football program.
Okay, I have 3 guys that have played a little bit. One that's played a whole bunch, Marcus Washington, started last year at left end in 11 ball games. Marcus is a good ball player from Killeen, Texas. And then have Michael Licio, who right now is in on the front of the right end position, along with John Pitts and Kenneth Banks that are really pushing hard.
Is it kind of fun for you being an old Tech boy now coming back coaching at your former school?
I'll tell you what, I don't know how you could have it any better. You know, it's just nice to be here, and of course with Coach Dykes.
Talk a little bit about Coach Dykes and the staff he's assembled from your perspective.
Well, I think the guys that Coach Dykes has put together are the best coaches as a group I've ever been around in my life. And I enjoy coming to work every morning, and not just because they're good football coaches, but because of the type of guys they are.
Now, where will you recruit? Where will the folks be able to see you in their area?
Well, I'll start just south of Fort Worth and go all the way down to Austin and go east and west from about San Saba and Ballinger over that way to all the way over to I-45 in East Texas.
Makes it a little easier to get in and talk to those mamas and daddies when you have the success you had last year.
Oh, I tell you what, it's nice. And it's easier to talk to those players, too. Sure is.
You have a good product here to talk about, don't you?
Oh, well, I think we have as fine a place as there is in the country. And I think that we're coming on, and it's a place every youngster ought to look at.
On the South Plains of Texas, cotton has always been king, and it still is. But that may be changing just a bit, for you see there are now grapes around Lubbock and wineries, like the one you see behind me. And that could be very good for Texas Tech University, according to Dr. Stephen Morris.
Well, Texas Tech has been very instrumental in the wine industry from when it started in Lubbock with Professor McPherson and Reed first growing some rootstock and realizing this is an excellent area to grow wine grapes in. Yes, it is new fields for Texas Tech, but the people that gave the money actually realized, the legislators, that this is an industry in Texas that is going to make it. It's well beyond the souvenir stage, as many thought a while back. And actually, it's an investment for Texas to further develop the industry. For Tech in particular, it's providing a tremendous amount of opportunities for undergraduates and graduate students to become involved in research being conducted in the College of Home Economics and College of Agricultural Sciences.
In terms of marketing, it seems like Tech is spearheading the wine industry in the state of Texas. How do you handle that marketing from the RIM program we were talking about?
In the RIM program in the College of Home Economics, some of the first things we wanted to look at in wine marketing was how can marketers in Texas do a better job selling their product in the state and expanding that demand for Texas wine. Some of our preliminary research showed that per capita consumption of wine in Texas is substantially lower than that of the average of the United States. But we feel like there's a tremendous potential because of that reason, and we feel like the potential is there to expand the demand for wine in general and Texas wines in particular. The wine industry in Texas is actually over 100 years old, and Tech's involvement with the wine industry goes back quite a ways. The oldest winery in Texas, Valverde Winery in Del Rio, Texas, is a third-generation winery run by a Texas Tech graduate, and the fourth generation that will operate that winery is now a sophomore at Texas Tech in the viticulture enology program and also learning about wine marketing. So Texas Tech's roots to the wine industry in Texas go back quite a ways.
So things are definitely looking up for the wine industry in Texas and for Texas Tech University. You might say that things are in the pink and the white and the red. For the Video Season Ticket, I'm Eddie Clinton.
Well, it was it's disappointing. Dadgummit, close and yet so far away, I guess you might say. This game is crazy. It seems like every time you play a close ball game, it evolves, and it comes right down to the wire, and you got to make a play, or they've got to make a play. And they made the play when they had to, and we didn't, and so that part of it's unfortunate, and that part of it really does hurt.
We just, went back and forth all day long. They'd score, we'd score. It was just a good, hard-fought game, and, they came out on top.
Interception, describe that for us.
They threw the pass. We had a cornerback, either Sammy Walker or Ronald Ferguson. I'm not sure which one tipped the ball, and I had over-the-top coverage, and they just tipped it into my hands, and I just tried to run with it down the sideline.
Well, coming into the, right before they kicked it off, we were thinking they were going to sweep, kick it or something, but fortunately for us, they kicked it off, and they knocked the two guys on the outside out, and the crease opened up, and I just hit it, running.
You guys have a great group of receivers. Is it frustrating? Does it push you? How do you feel about having the group of receivers you have to compete with just for playing time?
Well, it's good because it makes everybody better with the competition, We like, because coming into the season, they didn't think very highly about our receiving core, and now as the season makes progress, and we've been getting better every game.
How do you keep up, though? You guys are having a really tough year, but my gosh, you're fighting awful hard.
Yeah, like we say, you keep working hard, eventually something good is going to happen, and that's what we're hoping for.
We played pretty good at times, but again, we didn't capitalize on our opportunities. Our defense gave us some great opportunities, and we just didn't come through.
What are the shortfalls right now that you see?
I don't know. None right now. I don't know. The team's feeling pretty down. We're just going to have to get around to keep them up, and make sure no attitudes get on the bad side, and just keep playing.
What kind of adjustment do you have to make between Jamie and Robert Hall? Any at all as an offensive lineman?
I don't think we have to make any. They're both really good quarterbacks, and to us, to the linemen, it really doesn't matter who's in there. But, as long as they get the job done, and both of them are capable of doing that.
Proud of our players. I mean, I really am proud of them, and I'm probably nuts. I guess I am, but, I'm not. I hate that we lost, but I'll tell you one thing: I'm not embarrassed, or I'm not ashamed or anything. I'm proud, and I'm proud of the great crowd we had down here. And I mean, it's really enlightening. And like you said, the people that didn't come, I feel sorry for them, because, boy, we've got a lot of good things to be thankful for at Texas Tech. Believe me, we do.
It's really terrific. I noticed when you were coming off the field, you had a crowd lined up applauding until all your players got in the locker room.
People that don't go to those games, they don't understand what you're talking about, Eddie. It really is heartwarming, and it's fantastic. And with that kind of support, I promise you, they'll be rewarded for it's over with. We'll have us a team before long, and we're just not quite there yet, and that's unfortunate. But I tell these guys, I love these guys. They're not gonna throw the towel in, believe me.
Jamie, you tried to play him today. Was he hurt and just couldn't go?
No, he's just not quite ready. I think his conditioning factor is not very good. He's not practiced but twice in the last 2 weeks, and you can't do that. You've got to practice more than that. I think that Jamie's future is going to be great, and the thing we didn't want to do is go out there and get him dehydrated and get him back in the hospital or something, because he has had the bad flu. But Robert played fine. I don't see that there's any difference in those guys, and thank goodness we've got two guys that can play, and I think you'll see a lot of both of them in the future.
This is a lot of fun. You're 1-4, but I don't know that I've ever followed a team that I've enjoyed going out and looking forward to next week, and I don't mind going to Arkansas either.
Well, we're looking forward to going to Arkansas. Anything can happen, this team's fixing to bust loose now, I'm telling you, and it may be too late, but I don't see any kind of give up in them or any kind of let up in them. Traditionally, we've played Arkansas horrible. You know that. We'll find out really what we're made out of next Saturday, because if we do like we've done in the past, it won't be much of a ball game. If we do like we feel like we can do, we'll go play the heck out of them.
Have you ever been around a team that's so young, yet really I think this team's as talented as any I've seen to be that young?
Yeah, we have some talent. We really do. We've got some competitors. I tell you, we just got to make the plays, Eddie. We're just right on the verge, and we find out, we figure out a way, or we just can't quite come up with the play that enables you to get it over the hump, and it's exasperating. I mean, it really is, and that part really does worry you sometimes. But again, that goes with maturity, and that goes with the game, I guess.
Appreciate you. See you next week.
You bet. We'll see you in Fayetteville. Thanks a lot, Eddie.
You bet.